Good evening, guys. It's Saturday, October 22nd. My name is Dave Coker, and this is Talking About Finance. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let's go. Lots of optimism that the markets have rebounded from oversold. Yeah, I don't know. I never try to time the market simply because you can't. So I buy regularly. We buy regularly stocks and other market-driven assets such as Bitcoin, Ripple, other valid cryptocurrencies, just keeping the faith and protecting our wealth with stocks, with crypto, with property, with bullion. We use it all. We do it all. I'm active in the art market as well. But I would advise you guys about staying away from art. I used to run galleries in New York, so I've got a little bit of a sense there. But yeah, if you see a piece you like, buy it just for that. Don't buy it to protect your wealth. That's the number one reason why you should be buying art, because you enjoy looking at it. Any place to park cash in this macroeconomic environment, because we know cash is trash. So last week, the S&P 500 was up 4.7%. Now it's down only about 21% year to date. Will it rally through to a positive close? Anyone's guess. The VIX traded down from 32.02 to 29.69. It's starting to fall. But will this be sustained? Again, anyone's guess. Are we going to see a blow-off? That would actually be the very healthiest thing if we saw a big blow-off and the VIX spiked above 40. But nobody really knows. These are such strange and unusual times. The 10-year note closed this week at 4.23%. It's up 0.2%. Year-to-date, 10-year yields above 4%. My gosh. Compared to the ultra-loose monetary policy we've been going through for the past decade plus. Oil closed the week at 85.16. It's down some 0.5% week on week, up about 13.2% year to date. So it's a chill and cool Saturday night in Essex Town. We went out to the pub for dinner. It's another busy night out there in public. All you read about in the papers is inflation and misery and despair. And yet the pubs, and yet the clubs, and yet public transportation is chock full of people getting out and about, living their lives. Where are they getting the money? According to the papers, they're broke. I don't know. All I know is they're spending. They're keeping the economy afloat. This is very fascinating, the disconnect between mainstream media and what I tend to see when I get out there and look around. So let's go, guys. 7 slides for 7 days, and the night is young. We're going to do this thing. We're going to look at the markets. We're going to step back. We're going to see the absurd. We're going to see the value, and we are going to make money no matter what happens. This is the kind of night we love to go out and see live music. So let's talk markets, and let's rock. And wow, look at this. This is wild. I do have to reveal my position here. I actually know Boris personally. I've told you this before. And I put money. I got a lot of bad faults. One is I do bet from time to time. So yeah, I put money on Boris. When I first looked, the odds were 22 to 1. And by the time I put the bet, they were 7.2 to 1. They've now come down to about 3.9 to 1. So yeah, I put some money on Boris. And if that doesn't freak you out enough, yeah, I put a lot more money onto ex-President Bush becoming president in 2024. There I got 48 to 1 odds, and I put 15 quid down. That was a good one. With Boris, I only put £2.23 down. I know that number precisely because it's all I had in my betting account. I'm just not a big bettor. I just like a flutter, as the English call it. I like a flutter from time to time. And yeah, cover story on the FT, investors and MPs alarmed by the IT of Johnson returning to number 10. We'll have to see. We know what the MPs want, and what the investors want is different than what the rank and file voter in the UK want. So we're going to see exactly what happens here. Oh, and here's a good one. We were talking about this on the group. My God, you got to wonder about some of these central bankers. Now, I have a lot of time for Kashkari, but this quote is sort of trying my patience. And they're basically saying they don't know what they're doing. They're not totally sure. Yeah, I personally think they should just pause now and see what the impact is, because there is something we know called the implementation lag. They've identified a fault, they've taken remedial action, and they just can't keep taking the remedial action without pausing to see what the impact is. And that takes a while. It depends upon the time series that we're dealing with in central banker space. It might take 3 months. It might take more for the effect of higher interest rates to be felt throughout the economy. So we're going to have to see this. This is very, very fascinating. But still, we know the inflation is causing lots of trouble. I'm frequently asked by people, how come you put so much money into gold and silver in March 2019? Yeah, just again for the record, I moved 71% of my retirement capital into gold and silver in March of 2019. The trade has performed well. To be honest, it hasn't done exactly what I thought it would do. But I've got a long time frame here, guys. I'm not looking for it to rocket up immediately. And I do know, remember the last time I mentioned before, last time I took a huge position in gold and silver was 2004, 2005. It took me about 9 months over those 2-year period to build that position up. I held that position until 2014 when I sold, paid taxes, bought 4 houses and paid cash. This time, the gold and silver position's in my retirement account. It's a tax-sheltered vehicle. I'm still hoping to see some big gains. And I've talked to my accountants about moving the money out in a tax-sheltered way. Very funny cartoon, though. If you look at it, the Americans are tossing bags of, talking bricks of gold over to the Chinese, and the Chinese are no fools when it comes to money. God bless them. So they're handing the dollars back and taking the gold. Yep, I don't blame them. And furthermore, we see this when we start to look at data. And you know I'm data-driven. Look at the flows of gold going into these central banks. Absolutely incredible. And there's one bank missing here that I wish that they would stop the nonsense and just track, which is Russia. The last time I saw for data for Russia, they were north of 100 tons as well. So China's leading, India. Turkey, we all know what's going on in Turkey. Huge inflation. And once again, it seems when you look at it, starting with the UK moving down, you've got developed nations being reckless with money, selling gold, exporting gold. And you've got these developing nations, no fools when it comes to money. And they're saying, yeah, sure, that's okay. We'll take that. That's fine. We'll have the gold. Here's an interesting one, and I wrote this up for a research paper this weekend, and I took a brief part of it. Well, the research paper I sent out to my clients was about 1,500 words. I was about 300 words on Medium. The crux of it's right here. FINRA tracks margin debt, and they report it. And I look at the data every month. Really wild. Look at this. The correlation's 0.55. It's fairly high, guys. And you can see during the period of ultra-loose monetary policy, people accumulated, people took on increasing amounts of margin debt. Now, of course, retail money, and FINRA tracks only retail investors' activities. Retail money should not be buying anything on margin. My God, guys, don't do that to yourself. It's a trap. Sure, you might be seduced by the siren call of double your profits at 50% margin. If it goes up, instead of making $1, you make $2. Or instead of making $1,000, you make $2. Or instead of making $100,000, you make $200,000. But you have to think of the downside. And if it drops, you can lose it all. And yes, there have been people who have been bankrupted because they got reckless with the margin debt. Markets moved too aggressively. By the time their broker punched them out of that trade, they were wiped out financially. Happened in 2018, actually. It happened to a lot of people. I'm trying to think of the numbers exactly in my head. I can't, but it was very, very common. And if you go back on Google News and take a look, you can find stories like that. And here's a good one. Now, I like the gas boys, and I do like Ethereum, but this is interesting. This is not what crypto's about. Censoring cryptocurrencies. I'm not so sure about this. I don't know how the blocks exactly got censored, except they were named by a U.S. federal agency. And I really wonder about, it was unlikely the entire block contained nothing but transactions that they wanted to censor, that they wanted to block, that had illicit sources or destinations for the capital. In other words, ordinary people like me and you, well, not me because I'm not a gas person. I only hold Ethereum because I sell NFTs, And I've got a bunch of Ethereum right now that I got to look and see what the gas fees are. But aside from that, I don't hold Ethereum. I just hold Bitcoin myself. And you just wonder about all the ordinary people that are caught up in this chaos of what happened since the merge. Censorship has come to cryptocurrencies. And this is radically cool. All over the UK now we're starting to see these posters being put up. And you can see here, this is the Satoshi's white paper about Bitcoin. I'm not sure what's on the far left side. I got to find one and take a look. Somebody put this up to the group. It's actually pretty wild, though. Someone's starting a big, mass, public education effort. And if people look at Bitcoin during this period of absolute chaos and carnage, Bitcoin's been criticized because it's been trading sideways from roughly 19 and change up to 21 and change. I think that's a plus. Look at the dollar over the same period of time. Look at stocks over the same period of time. I haven't run the data, I haven't compared it to bullion, but it wouldn't surprise me if Bitcoin was more stable than bullion as well. It's absolutely incredible. The media finds something negative to say about Bitcoin all the time. But that's okay. We can use this to our advantage. Just do as I do. Buy Bitcoin regularly. Myself, it's every Friday. If you want to do it every day, you could. Once a week is fine. Once a month is fine. Once a quarter, even once a year. But just buy Bitcoin regularly. Buy it and never sell it. Lots of people think we're going to see a blow-off. We're being set up for a huge run going into the halving that will happen in May of 2024. I don't have strong feelings for that. I simply know I will never sell my Bitcoin because I know the Bitcoin I've been buying every Friday for years will be worth more in the future than it is now. I'd have to be a complete idiot to sell it now. I don't need the money. Why should I trigger a taxable event and give the tax man any money? I'll just hold on to it. That's it for this week, guys. Thanks for your time. Chill, relax. Everything's going to be awesome. You're going to have an incredibly profitable week. Take care. Oh, yeah. Good tunes tonight. Someone asked me, that's Soma FM, south of Market. It's a digital radio station in San Francisco. Awesome sound. I listen to it pretty much 24/7. Take care, guys.